What's up guys, it's Phil, and it's time for another easy DIY. So I'm a little frustrated because I've been using some new microphone equipment and I totally forgot to turn the thing on. So I did this whole project already and didn't have any sound. So now you get to see it again. With that guys, I wanted to say a quick thank you for everybody who has ever clicked on one of my Amazon links. If you've done that, when you go to Amazon, I am an Amazon affiliate, so I get a little bit of money back from those purchases that you made, and that goes to help support this channel and these DIYs. So with that being said, I decided that this project would be paid for with the money that I made from Amazon. So this project is a little more on the expensive side, but it's still in the realm of something that you could DIY for yourself for under $100. While you're at it guys, make sure to like and subscribe, make sure to share this video as much as you can, and turn on those notifications so that you know when I post new DIYs just like this one. So in today's DIY, we're going to be building a pretty decent sized butcher block top table. It's going to have some country style farmhouse legs, and it fits just under a kitchen island, which is a counter height of 36 inches. So the top of this table is going to be around 33 inches when you're done. So let's talk about materials. So the first thing that you're going to want to get is 6 2x4s. You want to find the cleanest ones and you want to find the best cut. So make sure there's no pith, you know, the little center of the tree. Make sure that you either have like half a rainbow or straight up and down wood grain if you can find it. Spend a little bit of time, you're only getting 6, and the people at your local home store aren't really going to care that you're pulling and looking at every single 2x4. Find the straightest, cleanest, best cut ones you can and pick up 6 of those. The next thing you're going to need is 2 2x6s at 8-foot lengths, and again you want to find the cleanest ones you can with the least amount of knots and the best cut as far as the way that the grain is going when you look at the ends. The last thing you're going to need while you're at the home store, other than picking up your screws and glue, is going to be these. These are pretty cool. These are pre-made farmhouse style legs. Now they're a little bit smaller and they're called a 29-inch country leg, but I picked these up at my local home store and they weren't that expensive, around 20 bucks a piece. In total, I went ahead and got 4 of these, and that's where most of the money went on this project. But the good thing is they're already pre-done. So if you're doing this DIY and you don't have a lathe in your shop or your house, or you don't even have a shop at all, these are a great option for getting this type of finish with these turned legs that we're going for on this project without having to do it yourself or pay a whole lot of money. So now let's move on to the tools. Yes, that's right. To do woodworking projects, you need woodworking tools. So please don't comment below about, oh my god, I can't believe I have to have tools, because guess what? You need tools to do woodworking. So, with that being said, here's the tools you're going to need. The first thing is going to be a table saw. Now I've got a nice cabinet grade table saw in my shop, but you can use any 10-inch table saw that will work. As long as you can cut up to 1.5 inches thick, you're going to be fine for this project. The other thing you're going to need is a chop saw. Now, a lot of times these are called a compound miter saw or a dual bevel, whatever. You don't have to have the fanciest thing in the world. You do need to be able to cut a 45-degree angle on a board that's at least 6 inches wide. It's really not too hard to find because the cut we're going to make is one where you actually tilt the saw at 45 degrees and chop into the wood versus having the wood standing up and turning it and doing 45. You can do it either way, but I prefer the safer way. And, to be honest, the saw that I use every day, I've got a link for it down below, one of those Amazon affiliate links I was talking about earlier. It is a compound miter saw, dual bevel, both sides, all that jazz. It's available at your home stores, it's available online, it is awesome, and it's not that expensive. So, really, just a generic chop saw versus this sliding compound miter saw, not a whole lot of price difference. You might as well go ahead and get yourself one. You're also going to need a tape measure, preferably a pencil or a pen or something to mark your distances with. And we're going to need some 2-inch coarse thread screws, preferably number 6, because when we go to do our countersink with our number 6 countersink bit, that's going to be the proper size hole. Speaking of which, get yourself a number 6 countersink bit, a drill, and a driver. Now I prefer the driver because then you're not going to strip the heads of the screws, but if you don't have a driver, you can just use your drill with a Phillips head drill bit. Not a problem. You're definitely going to want some wood clamps for this one because we are doing butcher block. If you have a planer, that would be preferable, but if you don't have a planer or access to a planer, you can use a hand plane or just do a really good job keeping this thing as flat as possible, and we'll still get a nice butcher block in the end. An optional piece of equipment is going to be a straight edge, such as a level or something like that, and a circular saw. So let me show you what we're going to be working on today. So this is the project we're going to be doing. It is a table that is made to be about 18 inches deep. It's going to stand about 33 to 33.5 inches tall, and it's also going to be 60 inches long. This thing is made to fit under a kitchen island, and the kitchen island is at counter height, which is 36 inches. So I've got about an inch of granite there, and then I want some space between the top of the table and the bottom of the granite so it doesn't get scratched, and if you're moving it in and out and it ever tips, I don't want it to get stuck and bind up underneath there and possibly break the legs. So with that, let's go ahead and get started because this is an easy project and it doesn't need to be a long video. So the first thing we're going to do is get our boards ready to make the butcher block tops. So take them over to your chop saw. You're going to want to cut one edge so it's nice and straight, and then measuring out from that edge, we want to cut our next cut at 60 inches. That's going to give us a nice 60-inch long board, which looks really, really nice. The next step is going to be setting your table saw fence so that you're just able to rip one of the rounded edges off of your 2x4s. Run all 6 of your 2x4s through the table saw and clean up one edge, and then we're going to set our fence at 1 1/2 inches to the inside kerf next to the fence. Run your 2x4s back through the table saw using that new flat edge that you just created, and you're going to wind up with a bunch of pieces that are 1 1/2 inch square. The next step is going to be to take these pieces over to your assembly table or wherever you're building your project and rearrange them a little bit so that they look, kind of nice and kind of random. And make sure that you don't have any major stress points where there's too big of a gap, because that will cause problems later on. Once these pieces are arranged, flip them to the upside that you're going to be putting the glue on and go ahead and apply the glue. Now here I'm doing it with a paint roller, but you can do it with just your finger or just the glue itself, because we are going to have a little bit of squeeze out, and that's okay. Once you've applied the glue, flip everything back up in the clamps and stand them up, put them together, and clamp them down pretty hard. Don't apply too much pressure, but you do want to have enough squeeze out that you don't have any gaps between the wood. It's extremely important that you try and keep the ends perfectly straight, so use that straight edge to do that, and try and keep this thing as flat as possible while doing your glue up. If you can get 2 clamps underneath it as a good flat reference to start, put another center clamp on and apply some pretty good pressure on it while you're clamping it down. That's a good place to start, and then just kind of make sure that all the rest of your boards are as flat as you can get them before you set it aside to move on to the next step. So now we're going to work on the 2x6s. So go ahead and head over to your table saw and set your fence at 5 1/4 inches to the inside kerf. We're going to pass both of our boards through the table saw at 8-foot lengths and go ahead and cut off that one edge, and this will leave a nice flat edge, which is going to be the side that attaches to the underside of our butcher block. Now go back to your miter saw and set your blade at a 45-degree angle for a beveled cut. We're going to lay our boards flat, and choosing which side you want to be the outside edge, you want to go ahead and cut one end of it so that you have a nice 45-degree angle cut directly into the board. Now you're going to flip the board around and you're going to measure to a distance of 58 inches. This is where you're going to start the next cut. So go ahead and make your cut, and now you have a board that measures 58 inches from long point to long point. Now you want to go back to your table saw and you want to set your fence at 3 1/4 inches, and go ahead and take one of the scraps from your 2x4s or 2 of the scraps from your 2x4s and run it through the table saw and give yourself one nice clean edge. Going back to the miter saw, now we're going to stand the saw back up at 90 degrees and turn our bevel so that it is cutting at 45 degrees. Now you want to cut down on your board and give yourself one nice 45-degree angle. Flip the board over and measure out to 8 1/2 inches, and go ahead and do your next miter cut so that your longest point is where you've marked. Now we want to assemble these parts. So we're going to actually put the apron together upside down. So going back to your assembly table or wherever you're assembling the parts, go ahead and set one of your long 2x6s down, add a little bit of glue to the end, and join it up with one of the shorter 2x6s. Then take one of the 2x4s you just cut, apply glue to both ends, and apply it at an angle to the two 2x6s. Holding everything tightly together, we want to use our countersink bit to drill 2 small holes at each end of the 2x4 and attach 2 screws for a total of 4, and make sure everything is holding nice and tight together. Repeat this for all 4 corners and go ahead and get the apron put together, making sure that it stays flat while you're putting it all together, and set it aside. Now I'm going to interject with one little variable here, and this is something that I noticed that you could do at home if you want to take these extra steps. So for starters, the legs that I used have this little hardware piece on them that I'm not going to be using, so I'm going to take it off. It's actually pretty quick and easy to do since this thing's just put into the end grain. Pull this piece off in the staple. And once you've done that, all you have to do is get yourself a nice heavy-duty pair of pliers, grab on real tight and just squeeze into that thing, and then just twist clockwise, and you'll get that piece of hardware to come all the way out, and you can discard it. Now I've got a nice, clean, flat top leg that I don't have to worry about that hardware getting in the way. Observation number 2, and this may or may not apply to your particular legs, but one of the reasons I bought these legs is because not only are they pre-turned, but check this out. It comes with one of the corners already cut off. There's a reason for that. I'm not sure why they did that and then still attach the hardware to it, because the two don't work together. But if you take the hardware off, this piece now gives you a nice place to butt that 45-degree edge up to. And I'm going to show you that in just a second. One more modification I'm going to have to make to the plans is depending on how thick your legs are. Mine happen to be right at 2 1/4 inch, which means that from this point to the flattened edge is going to be 3 inches. So I need 3 inches of clearance from the corner to the back of my 2x4 corner supports. Check this out. So here's what I'm working with, and the whole reason I'm interrupting myself right now is because I don't want any of my YouTube viewers to be mad at me when this doesn't work out perfectly for them. But if you buy a leg that has this pre-cut, or if you get one that's square and you pre-cut it yourself, that's awesome. When you cut these, depending on how thick your leg is, they might have to be thicker or thinner. Mine happen to fit perfectly when I do a 9-inch cut, because now this will all be secured. I can slide this in just like that with the flat edge here and the flat edge there, and everything's going to line up really nice. The reason that I cut these boards at just shy of 9 inches at the long part of the bevel is so that when they are in these corners and they're touching the pieces of wood all the way around, I want it to touch both sides, and we're getting a nice tight screw in there and touch the leg on each side and just barely kiss each other right here on the end, okay? If your leg is thicker, you might have to kind of cut this corner off to get those pieces to fit, but at 2 1/4 inch thick country style legs, everything fits just perfectly for these particular plans that I'm telling you about right now. Once the butcher block has dried, go ahead and take it out of the clamps, and if it needs to be flattened any farther, you can use a hand planer or scraper, and go ahead and get it cleaned up and get it nice and flat and level. You want to clean up one side of it first, flip it over and clean up the other side just a little bit more, and flip it back and redo your top side one more time to make sure that you have a nice, perfectly flat and level butcher block. If you need to clean up the ends, you can take your straight edge and attach it using clamps, then using a circular saw, just barely nip off the edge until everything is perfectly straight and square. The next step is going to be attaching the apron to the butcher block. So you want to take your newly created apron, set it on the bottom of your butcher block, and decide how far in you want it to set. So for this particular one, I'm going to make sure that the measurements on the 2 ends and the 2 sides are perfectly equal to one another so that it is centered on the butcher block. Using your countersink bit at an angle, you can make little pocket holes all the way down the butcher block on the long side of the boards, and using your 2 1/2 inch coarse thread screws, go ahead and attach the butcher block top to the apron. Once you've done that, you can take the legs and set them in the corners of the apron so that the hardware is setting on the bottom of the butcher block and the corner of the leg is pressed up against the apron. Using your countersink bit, you want to drill a small hole on both the left and right side of the leg, angled down and towards the apron, so that when you put your screw in, it will go through the leg and into the apron. Add a little bit of glue and sink your screws in through the 2x4 into the back corner of the legs, and then sink in the other 2 on the sides into the apron. Once those 2 are tight, go back and make sure that the corner screws are tight, and your legs are now attached. Give the whole thing a light sanding by hand, making sure to dull all of your corners and edges and clean everything up the way that you want it. Then make sure to finish it with whatever color stain or paint you would prefer. And then give it a couple of coats of nice polyurethane, preferably in a satin finish. Hey guys, one crucial step I almost forgot. When doing any tabletop, especially butcher block, you've got to make sure that you finish the underside. A lot of people on YouTube don't tell you to do that, and you absolutely have to, especially with butcher block, because the boards can absorb more moisture out of the air from the underside than they can the top side. If you're doing it like me and you're finishing it at the end, make sure to go back and do your polyurethane all along the inside of this thing to make sure that the underside is sealed as well as the top side. And you're done.